You may never say, I feel depressed. You may say, everyone is getting on my nerves. You wake up irritated. Ordinary questions sound like criticism. Small noises feel unbearable. Someone asks you to do one simple thing, and suddenly you explode. Then the anger passes. Underneath it, you find exhaustion, guilt, emptiness, or the painful question, what is happening to me? Here is something many people never hear. Depression can look like anger. In this video, you will learn why anger and depression often appear together. You will discover 3 signs that help you recognize the pattern. And I will give you a simple method to reduce the pressure before it controls your next words. We will also talk about the step many people miss. How to repair the relationship after an angry outburst. When a simple question feels like an attack. Imagine this. Alex wakes up after another restless night. The body feels heavy. The mind already feels behind. Nothing sounds enjoyable. Even getting dressed requires effort. At breakfast, Alex's partner asks, did you remember to make that appointment? A simple question. Alex hears something else, like, you are unreliable. You cannot manage your life. You keep disappointing me. The body tightens, the heart beats faster, and Alex responds sharply. Why are you always criticizing me? An argument begins. A few minutes later, Alex is alone. The energy disappears, and then comes the crash. I hurt the person I love. I ruin everything. Perhaps I should stay away from everyone. The anger was visible. The pain underneath it was hidden. Depression has more than one phase. Many people picture depression as sadness, tears, and withdrawal. That is one possible picture. Another person may become restless, impatient, cynical, easily frustrated, or unusually angry. Their emotional fuse becomes shorter. A delayed train feels unbearable. A harmless comment feels insulting. A small problem feels like proof that life is falling apart. Irritability, frustration, restlessness, increased anger, withdrawal, low energy, sleep changes, difficulty concentrating, hopelessness, and loss of interest can all appear within depression. A diagnosis depends on the wider pattern, its duration, the distress involved, and its effect on daily life. Anger alone tells us very little. The complete picture tells us much more. It's a heavy backpack. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack, and you carry it throughout the day. It contains exhaustion, disappointment, poor sleep, loneliness, pressure, self-doubt, and responsibilities that already feel overwhelming. And then someone adds one small book, and that book appears to cause the collapse. The real weight was already there. Depression can reduce your emotional capacity, and daily life still asks the same things from you. Your system simply has fewer resources available. And that is why the immediate trigger may look small. The accumulated pressure is huge. Anger is an emotion. Aggression is a behavior. And this distinction matters. Anger arises automatically. Your response still contains choices. You can feel intense anger and speak respectfully. You can feel anger and take a pause. You can feel anger and protect a boundary. You can feel anger and ask for help. Anger often carries a message. Something hurts. I feel trapped. I need space. I feel powerless. A boundary needs attention. I've reached my limit. The feeling contains information, and your behavior remains your responsibility. Understanding and responsibility belong together. Why anger can feel better than depression. Here is the surprising part. For a brief moment, anger can feel better than depression. Depression often feels heavy, slow, empty, powerless. And anger brings energy. It raises your heart rate, it focuses your attention, it prepares you to act. For a few moments, you may feel stronger. You feel alive again. You can push back, you can create distance, you can make something happen. And then the anger fades. When the anger fades, the heaviness returns. And now guilt and relationship damage arrive with it. And this creates a painful cycle. Depression creates powerlessness. Anger creates temporary power. And the outburst creates guilt. And guilt creates withdrawal. Withdrawal deepens the depression, and the anger provides energy for a moment. Yes, and then it adds more weight to the backpack. What a vicious cycle. Anger may be protecting something softer. For some people, anger feels safer than sadness. Perhaps sadness received little comfort early in life. Perhaps fear attracted criticism. Perhaps vulnerability led to rejection. Perhaps emotional needs felt embarrassing or dangerous. Anger became armor. It created distance. It provided energy. It helped you protect something tender inside. Your anger may therefore contain several emotions at once. Hurt, fear, grief, loneliness, shame, disappointment, exhaustion. The anger is real, and it may be gardening something deeper. Here is a useful question. If my anger could speak without shouting, what would it say? Perhaps it would say, I'm overwhelmed. I feel invisible. I need support. I'm scared. I'm not able to carry all this alone. I don't want that. When anger turns inward, anger can point towards other people, and it also can turn against yourself. And then it sounds like this. You ruin everything. You should be stronger. Why can't everyone else cope? You're a burden. You will never get this right. You may appear calm on the outside. Inside, you're attacking yourself throughout the day. And this often hides behind perfectionism, constant comparison, relentless self-correction, and the feeling that every mistake reveals something terrible about you. Outer anger can damage your relationships. Inner anger can damage your relationship with yourself, and both deserve attention. The anger depression loop. Let us return to Alex. Alex feels exhausted and disconnected, and that reduces emotional capacity. Reduced capacity increases irritability. Irritability creates conflict, and conflict creates guilt. Guilt leads to withdrawal, and withdrawal creates isolation. Isolation deepens the depression, and then the next difficult moment begins with even fewer resources. And this loop can continue for months. Here is the hopeful part. Every loop has several entry points. You can begin with your body. You can begin with communication. You can begin by repairing a relationship. You can begin by seeking support. You rarely need to solve everything at once. Interrupting one part begins to change the whole pattern. 3 signs that deserve attention. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, has my emotional fuse become much shorter? Situations that once felt manageable now create intense reactions. Second, what happens after the anger? Do you feel empty, exhausted, ashamed? Do you withdraw? Does the anger turn into a self-hatred? Third, what else has changed? Look at your sleep, your energy, your concentration, your appetite, your motivation, your interest in activity, your relationships, and your view of the future. The wider pattern matters. So does the timing. When did this begin? What was happening in your life? Has the anger become growing? A new or rapidly increasing change deserves careful attention. Reduce the heat. When anger rises, searching for explanations can wait. Your body needs support first. Use these 4 letters. H-E-A-T. Heat. H, hold the moment. Pause. Allow a few seconds of silence. Place both feet on the floor. Create some physical space when that supports safety. You can say, I want to handle this well. I need a few minutes and I will return. A pause is an active choice. It prevents one intense moment from deciding the direction of an entire relationship. I. Exhale and orient. Release your jaw. Lower your shoulders. Let your exhale become slightly longer than your inhale. And then look around. Name 3 things you can see. Notice the sounds. Feel one place where your body touches the chair or floor. Give your nervous system a simple message like, I'm here, I have time. I can choose my next step. I'm here, I have time. I can choose my next step. A. Ask what is underneath. Ask yourself, what hurts right now? What feels threatened? What meaning did I give the situation? What belongs to this moment and what comes from accumulated pressure? What do I need? Perhaps you need rest, clarity, space, respect, support, boundary, reassurance, or a calmer conversation later. Curiosity turns emotional pressure into useful information. T. Take one safe action. Choose an action that serves you. And I mean one that serves you beyond the next 10 seconds, like take a short walk, drink some water, write down what happened, ask for a pause. Contact someone you trust. Schedule professional support. Return to the conversation when your body has regained more capacity. The goal is to use anger wisely. Its energy can support protection, clarity, and change. How to express anger clearly. Vague accusations create more heat. Specific language creates direction. For example, with the structure. When this happened, I felt, or what mattered to me is, my request is. For example, when our plans changed without a conversation, I felt pushed aside. Reliability matters to me. I would like us to discuss changes before making a decision. Or when you made that comment in front of other people, I felt exposed. Respect matters to me. I want us to address concerns privately. Clear language gives anger a constructive task. How to repair after an outburst. Sometimes the pause comes too late. You already shouted. You said something hurtful. You frightened or humiliated someone. And now shame may tell you to disappear. Repair asks you to move closer with responsibility. You can say, what I said was hurtful. You deserved as a respectful conversation. I felt overwhelmed and I take responsibility for how I responded. I'm working on a safer way to handle that. A sincere repair contains 4 parts. Name what happened. Acknowledge the impact. Take responsibility and describe your next step. An explanation creates understanding. Responsibility creates safety. Repeated change rebuilds trust. An apology opens the door. Your future behavior shows what the apology means. When someone else's depression comes out as anger, perhaps you recognize this pattern in someone close to you. Compassion and protection belong together. You can understand someone's pain and maintain clear boundaries. It's important. You might say, I can see that you are overwhelmed. I am ready to continue when we can speak calmly. Or, I care about what you're feeling. Shouting crosses a boundary. We can return to this conversation later. Depression may provide context for angry behavior, while every person remains responsible for creating safety. Threats, intimidation, humiliation, destruction, and violence call for clear protection and appropriate support. Your empathy includes your own well-being. This is Berlin. Always something's going on outside. When professional support makes sense, persistent or rapidly increasing anger deserves a closer look, especially when it appears alongside low mood, loss of interest, exhaustion, sleep changes, hopelessness, withdrawal, harsh self-criticism, or thoughts of death. Anger and irritability can also appear with anxiety, trauma-related activation, severe sleep deprivation, substance use, medication effects, physical health conditions, and other mental health conditions. Pay particular attention when irritability appears together with unusual high energy, racing thoughts, rapid speech, increased activity, impulsive decisions, or needing far less sleep while still feeling energized. These features can occur during manic or hypomanic episodes and deserve professional assessment. A qualified professional can explore the full picture, and that may include a conversation about your mood and history, a medical evaluation, psychotherapy, medication, practical changes, or a combination suited to your situation. You deserve support while you're still functioning. You deserve support before relationships begin to collapse. You deserve support even when sadness is rarely the emotion you notice. Remember these 3 sentences. My anger carries information. I can pause before I act. Understanding creates choice. You're more than your most intense emotional moment. Your anger may be pain searching for a safe path forward. It may be powerlessness searching for influence. It may be exhaustion asking for care. And it may be a signal that your mental health deserves greater attention. Anger says something about your present state. Your next step shapes your future. When you feel at risk or harming yourself or someone else, please seek immediate support. Which part of this pattern feels most familiar for you? The short fuse, the crash afterward, or the anger that turns against you? Share one word in the comments when it feels right for you. And subscribe to Help Anxiety, because here you find practical ways to understand your emotions, calm your nervous system, and move toward greater safety, clarity, and freedom. I'm Carsten Nock.